This isn't a discotheque, darling. This is the theater of the stars.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, fine people of the internet. Brian here with Manabeast. With me, as always, my co-host and Spaceman 5000.
Jay Banna, guys.
Excellent, excellent. And today we have a subject about a love-hate relationship we have with Panini and some missed opportunities we feel the Panini has, talking about their marketing, how they've gone about promoting the game, and really our gripes and a few mentions of positivity. Is that a good little nutshell there?
Absolutely. And, one thing that Brian also wants to mention is this really ties a lot to what was mentioned in our last podcast. So feel free to check that out. Check our last podcast, because a lot of the stuff that we spoke about from that last podcast, it kind of correlates a little bit into this discussion, which is taking it another step forward, talking about it from the efforts made on the Panini side, how it relates to the game stores, how does it relate to the players, and how does all of that involved?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. We're kind of piggybacking this on to a little bit about local gaming stores and how things are promoted. But this has been an issue that I've had for a while, and from time to time you've probably heard me bitch about it, either on the cast or on the forums or in videos. But I, in general, feel Panini does a really poor job advertising for the game. And I let me just start this off. Let's have a little jump point here we can kind of talk from. This all stemmed from something I noticed months ago when I went to Panini America. And I need to really make sure that people understand that there is a difference between Panini America and Panini DBZ. People like Rich and Ike, okay? So let me just specify there are two real separate entities here that I want to talk about. So I go to Panini America's website. And for those of you who don't know, Panini's really big into sporting cards, football, basketball. That's really their bread and butter. So when you go to their main website, that's what they're advertising. And out of curiosity, I thought I'll look around on the site. Maybe I'll go to the top. Maybe I'll go to links. There is nowhere on the site that advertises any kind of links for Dragon Ball Z, one of the biggest anime franchises in the world. And they have no advertisement for it. On top of that, Panini also doesn't have any advertisements for some of the Disney products they carry. Again, one of the biggest animation studios in the world, who holds multiple franchises that they could be advertising, isn't even on their main page for a link to go, hey, check out this other thing we do from this little company called Disney. And so I saw that, and it's just disturbing, really, that people talk about marketing, and I know we can go into how much it costs, but when I see a company like Panini and they have the opportunity on their own homepage to do some sort of advertisement for free, and they don't, it makes absolutely no sense to me.
No, you're right. And really, just to tie into what you were discussing, there is a form of segregation on these two different entities, or these three, actually, if you include Disney. They don't like to mix the two. They want to separate their audience, which is fine. I understand where you as a person may be very invested into sport cards. You don't want to deal with this other stuff. Maybe you're just not into an anime type of, maybe you're just not into anime, vice versa. Maybe you're not into card sports. I get it. You don't want it to be pressured onto you as a person to see all these other related products or possibly licenses that Panini supports. However, it just shows that it's not a matter of concern that I have necessarily with involving these two. We're not expecting Panini to overwhelm all of their targeted audiences with every single license or franchise, whatever they're invested within their company, to everybody that they support. What we would just like to see is that there is some sort of tie back. Hey, by the way, we also support such and such. It doesn't seem like that effort is made. I mean, right now we have the Panini blog, or what is it called? The WordPress. We have that.
The WordPress site, which that's another that's another joke, but yeah, go ahead.
And there's no excuse. We have the technology. They have the money to invest into further promoting their games. And
let's talk about past money though. Like that's something I want to get past right off the bat, because Panini America, and right up the front, I get why they're not investing this kind of money into marketing. They got the franchise, they got the license somehow, and so this is what I imagine. The bigwig said, hey, we got this franchise. It's based off this game that was already kind of built. We can really use the infrastructure they had in the old game, re-update it, put it out there, and see what happens. I completely get why they want to invest minimal money into this. But as far as the whole thing about not advertising on your main site, I'm not talking about inundating people. But a good example I could say is a website like Fantasy Flight Games. They're dedicated mostly to board games. They're dedicated to a lot of board gaming centric kind of games, and they don't really focus on collectible card games. Well, they released Star Wars Destiny, which was a collectible card game with dice. Really brand new avenue for them as far as a card game goes, because they did a living card game before, but they haven't really branched into this. But guess what? You go to their main site, they're advertising their main board games, but there is at the upper top corner a place for Star Wars, and then Star Wars Destiny, and a fully fleshed out site, and a integrated site within the main one that advertises the game. There's an instructional video, which, by the way, am I the only one that thinks it's absolutely ridiculous that the most trusted source for how to play this game is an independent source like UFC Wildcat? I mean, I think that's great. But again, if you want to control marketing messaging, Panini should have been the one that said, hey, we're going to put out a video that gives you an in-depth way to play the game. Well, they didn't do that. So I think they could have done a better job there, as far as people saying, well, they don't have the money to do it. Well, they invested into a WordPress site, a little shitty WordPress site for Dragon Ball Z, and they don't even advertise that. So if the question is they either don't want to have the money or they're incompetent, I think it's both. They don't have anybody who says, hey, wait a second. These are people who trade in cards for football, so they're either going to be a younger age, or if the demographic is switched to like 30s and 40s, these are people with nieces, nephews, sons, and daughters. What else would they like? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they'd be interested in a card game from one of the biggest anime franchises in the history of the world. Maybe we should just have a link. Like just a link. Other products, link. Dragon Ball Z TCG. Like, it's a magical little piece of PHP code here, people.
No, absolutely. And actually, let's take that topic and even expand on it a little bit more. Think about marketing now and them having a WordPress that is strictly for Dragon Ball Z. And it's not as highly recognizable to the public, in my opinion. Think about it. Me as a player, I have connections with people on Retro. Retro is very much focused and affiliated to older players who play the game, as well as new players who are joining into the Panini game. And right now, as of today, there is 4,055 members on that Retro page. 4,055. That is nothing compared to how many people can be even in a city. To think that we're expanding as much as we can on the player base to have a group called Retro DBZ, CCG, whatever it is, the fact that that is what's being taken place on the players level to really gather interest and to intrigue people to want to be invested and involved in Dragon Ball Z, we can't do as better of a job than what Panini themselves can do. They have the potential resources, they have the investment, they have the reason to want to expand. Maybe it is that, kind of like what Brian has said, maybe they just felt that it wasn't worth the financial investment to really make that avenue wider to seek players to want to invest into the game. I mean, there are card players all over the world who play all sorts of games. That is a very good target audience. If you can focus with your target on card players, have that as your starting base, that right there is going to hopefully increase that. I mean, and I say this, of course, with hopefully, because we never can foresee the future and who would be invested into the game. But I mean, we can't make assumptions, nor can we rely on anything if the company who supports it doesn't even take the extra effort to do so.
Well, and that's a good point. And segueing into what you were talking about with Target and GameStop, I think the idea in general is good. The thought of, hey, people who are shopping are going to see this anyway. But why is it that I continue to find out about these kind of products from places like the retro boards, from random people going into Targets or into GameStops? It bothers me that Panini, the people doing this, on their own blogs or on their own Twitter or on their own social media campaigns, aren't the ones blaring out, by the way, guys, go to Target, go to GameStop, support this. We're coming out with brand new promo cards in these 3-pack blister packs. But no, we have to find out about this from our own people internally? What?
I know. Me as a company, if I have my own fan base supporting some form of marketing efforts that do essentially give value to what I'm providing as a product, that's great and dandy. The only problem is, like, at that point, where are you taking this game? Let's even take a step back. When they purchased the license to this game, let's be real here, and I know maybe some of you may not like what I'm about to say. Did they really invest because they saw value in the game? Or did they see it as a license that was really cheap at the time? They saw that Dragon Ball Super was coming out. They saw that there was some anime-like, I guess, efforts that were to be made, whether from Japan or from another source, that was to bring back the nostalgia of Dragon Ball Z. And they, so therefore, as a business decision, purchased the license. Do you think that potentially, and this is hypothetical, I have no knowledge, but who's to say that they are investing a little bit into this license to potentially sell it, using it as a way of acquiring funds? I don't truly feel that that's the case, because I just don't see people spending that much money on the Dragon Ball Z license. I mean, I don't know much about the business side on the license and how much it's going to be valued at, or what added value you get with the investment you put in. But let's face it, could there have been a business decision that was made prior to this game, prior to us getting invested as we are today as players, that could possibly lead to the reasons for why these marketing efforts haven't been extrapolated to where we want them to be now, today? I would like for you guys to kind of share me your opinion, share me your thoughts. Again, these are all hypotheticals. I have no knowledge of this, and I know Brian wouldn't have any knowledge of this either. But we, as players, we care so much about this game, so we would just love to learn. We would love to be informed just as much while Panini is progressing through their business efforts.
I think you're right. I think you've pretty much hit it on the head. I think if I'm going to look at how Panini made this decision, I think they saw an opportunity, because any business that's going to invest in something like this, it's a whole idea of risk and reward. They probably bought it for a nominal price. I don't know what that was. They probably did some research into this, and at some point there was a correlation between Score Z and what would then be Panini Z when they created their game. And it just made sense. They can acquire this license for fairly a good price, design a game based off of one that was already out, mind you. So the design of it was really low. They bring in a team that they just hire in every set, mind you, so they don't have to have people on board being paid 24/7. So it's a minimal investment for I would say a modicum, a medium profit. And that's what we have here today. The problem I have, though, is that they could be doing so much better, even outside of using money or paying money to advertise. Because another case, we had the issue with Bandai and the whole drama about, remember when Bandai was coming out with a game and people were freaking out, oh my God, Bandai's going to replace Panini. And what did we hear? We heard nothing from Panini. Absolutely nothing for weeks on end. And then what happened? One of the McBride brothers, who owns part of Retro DBZ, was the one who just sent a form email to Bandai who said, oh yeah, by the by, don't worry about it. This is not going to be interfering with Panini. And we found out, oh, it's a digital card game and it plays different. Panini, like, either one or two things. You didn't know what Bandai was doing, so you do an absolutely shit-tastic job doing brand management. Or you did, and instead of quelling the fears of people who I know, some people quit, some people wanted to get out, you just let it go, like...
Or they possibly didn't have the resource to affirm that ever happening to begin with, which actually goes back to saying, where is the effort?
Jeez, my God, if you don't have a dude who can click buttons on a computer, which at that point, I think last we knew Aaron Gettings was their last social media coordinator, we could say. But if you don't have a dude internally that can do that, I mean, part-time college dude, teach him the ins and outs of basic social media etiquette. Let him go. Like, we don't even have that. So I'm of the opinion that at the moment I'm investing in the game as much as it is being invested into me, which I really don't feel. I just get this general vibe that Panini just doesn't give a fuck. They're fine with it as it is. They're going to let the game go. And whatever happens, happens. Who cares if we market it right?
And now I'm a big believer that, one, you can't control people. You can't, influence people to persuade them to do something without that person acting as their own decision to determine what they themselves want to do. I mean, you could say something that would intensify someone to want to change their decision on something, but at the end of the day, that person makes the choice to do whatever it is they feel is necessary, even if it was initially brought up by another individual. So I guess where am I coming with this? My point is, we probably can't assume that Panini is going to listen to what we say. We can't assume that they have our best interests at heart, but who does have our best interest at heart is us. So now, let's just kind of self-evaluate this for a second. If I'm the player and I want to invest my money and time into a game that I enjoy, there may be some reap rewards, going to a locals, winning store credit, winning promotions, that of course are being promoted by Panini in this example. I myself could say, is the risk of me investing worth me investing? I can do that as a player as well. So I know that kind of sounds like a harsh question sometimes to ask yourself, but is it worth investing in this game? And is the efforts from the company supporting the decision to stay? That is really kind of what brought about this. What really brought about this conversation was with Bandai coming out and the level of communication that took place with Panini and how all this information was kind of brought up in front of all the players and through the retro page and so forth. But it's also a matter of, I personally, I want this game to do really well, and I would hate to have to sit here and think to myself, gosh, it's a shame if things did not go even further, taking this game a step further, almost to the level and caliber of Magic the Gathering. Now, I'm gonna take a step back, and I'm gonna redirect the conversation to something else. So let's take it from another perspective. Well, I, as a player, you know what I do? I go to a local game store. And there are times and days when we do local events and so on and so forth. Let me tell you something. When I go to a card shop, guess what I see? Card players, board game players. There's the D&D players who come. There are Warhammer players who come. Other, comic books even, enthusiasts, all sorts of things. But tell you what, every time when I step into a card shop, you know what players I normally see? Magic players. Yeah. I guarantee you, I can walk into a store anytime between opening to close, and I can always sit down to play a game of Magic, whether it's Commander, Standard, Modern, Legacy, whatever it is. I guess I'm a little greedy because I would like that to happen for Dragon Ball Z. I would like to be able to say to myself, you know what? I left work early, but unfortunately, our event doesn't start till 7. Huh. So now I subconsciously have to think to myself, well, shit, if I go there any earlier, there's nothing for me to do. because I'm not going to see, Dragon Ball Z players at that time. They're going to come at the time when the event takes place. But I can tell you this, I can meet some Magic players and play a game or two. I would rather like it as a player to be able to see Panini to bring the game to that type of level, where I could feel comfortable going to a game store at any time and sitting down and playing a game, whether it be casual or competitive and whatnot. And there are so many factors involved, and this kind of ties into our last discussion. Increasing the number of players of interest who want to invest into the game, and being able to supply the support for people to feel to have more incentive, more of an incentive to play the game as well. And that's just the tough part, because I'm a greedy person, and we all are. We would like to go to the game store, sit down, and play Dragon Ball Z at any time, not to have to feel restricted at a certain time frame for which we play those games.
Well, and that all comes down to this day and age, in 2016, I think any person who gets into a card game, and I've had to do this because, as you know, I've gotten into Star Wars Destiny. I, as a player who now plays multiple games, usually at all times, I have to look back and go, okay, is it worth my time to invest into this game? Because part of it is, as much as I enjoy a game, for instance, if Star Wars Destiny came out and it was by any other company and it was managed poorly, I wouldn't get into it because I said, this just isn't my thing. I don't think it's managed well. But Fantasy Flight Game, I think, has done an amazing job of promoting it, of putting it out there, of making advertisements, of, like I said, the instructional videos. Just everything about the game has been extremely well received and well polished. So when new players get into a game, I don't blame them. When people ask me about Dragon Ball Z and they look at the meta and where it's at and trying to get into the game, it's a little bit difficult when they're looking for resources or information, and I have to go, and this is just my honest truth, Manabeast or whatever outlet that is by a player, that is not by Panini, Manabeast should not be the place where you get your source of information for DBZ. Panini themselves should be the one controlling the message and the marketing and delivering the kind of news to players, instead of it being, like I said, where players are finding out information or we get reports and rumors from people about things. I don't feel Panini either gives a shit about it or they know how to handle it, because right now there's no one handling that. And I don't really blame that on Panini DBZ. I don't blame that on Ike or Richie. I think they are probably, or Riz, I think they're doing the best they can with what they have. They probably have limited resources, and they don't really have the kind of backing that a Magic the Gathering would have with Hasbro. So if that's what the game is going to be, right, it's just going to be this cute little game that a company puts out and it's going to last for another year or two, then so be it. The problem then becomes, though, then you're not going to get a new player base to invest, because they're going to look at the game and go, I've seen this with Kaijudo. I've seen this with UFS, right? We've seen this with a handful of games that have come out within the past 5 years, and people are going to go, you know what, I'm safer going into Magic. I'm safer going into Yu-Gi-Oh!, Vanguard, whatever you may play.
Oh my gosh, I know. Safely, that's the thing. I'm going to safely go into this card game and play this strategy game because of the reason of me being able to go to a GameStop and have some sort of hobby revolved around card games. Like, that just, to me, just seems absurd. This is exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. If I have to go to a local store at a certain time to play one game, and that game is Dragon Ball Z, that's a shame. It restricts me as a player to have options. There's no flexibility now. And the flexibility is, it's been 2.5 years. I don't expect us to be at the same caliber as Magic the Gathering. I would just like to see the improvement. I do see some of it. Okay, I'll throw a bone to Panini. They're marketing cards. They're sending them over to Target and GameStops. They're selling products. People, the GameStops and Target, they're making sales.
Yeah, but really tell me. I want your honest opinion. Tell me what you think those blister packs, how that's getting new players into the game. To me, those blister packs are not marketed towards new players. Those are marketed towards players who want special promo cards. I don't see anybody buying that and getting 3 packs of all these mixed colors and going, okay, how do I play the game now?
Right. No, absolutely.
There's no rule book in there at all. So what do? You look online You try to find out Panini. Well, Panini really doesn't have that much resources. Oh, I'm going to go to this YouTube channel here to find out how to play the game. So again, already from the get-go, let's just say you get past the first, it's Dragon Ball Z, and you open up 3 packs. Let's say you get past that and actually, do some homework and go online and look up how to play the game, which again is asking your new players to do more work. It's just, as much as Panini may want to say, or the idea is to get new players, I think it's bullshit. The way it's marketed and the way it's done is in no way a good way to get new players into the game.
I agree. And, just to kind of go back to the example of GameStop and Target, that's not to get new players. That's simply to have other third-party companies, such as Target and GameStop, to be able to acquire sales so they, as a business, can say, okay, it's worth creating some sort of agreement with Panini to be able to sell their product on our shelves. That's all that it's doing. It's just creating another outlet for existing players to purchase product. That is it. It doesn't bring new players, unfortunately. And
so
I don't know.
The question is, where is the hype for that? Why is Panini, in these past 2 blister packs, where was the hype for this? Where was Panini, even on the Panini blog, blasting out a month beforehand, 2 weeks beforehand, hey guys, you want to come to Target on this date, and after, we're going to have this special Blacksmith's Drill promo that's going to be coming out in these blister packs, getting excitement, getting hype going, right? Getting the community, whoa, I want to check this out. Where's that at? That's not money. That's not costing you money.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from. I'm only talking about the efforts that they've made. It doesn't tie to what you're getting at, which is
I know.
efforts.
I appreciate the efforts. Yeah. It's just it's mismanaged. It's mishandling. It's
or
done poorly.
Maybe a better way to put it, it's not prioritized correctly. I think that would be a better way to put it.
I don't know if it's prioritizing. It's just mismanaged. It's just mishandled and mismanaged terribly. And I've been in marketing for a decent amount of my life, and I'm not a marketing expert, but just basic logic and reasoning would give you the simplest, vaguest idea that if you have a product that you're going to be putting out in stores for hardcore fans, to let them fucking know about it. Like, really, just let me know about it. Let me know what's out there. Let me know what's going to be available. Because the more hype you put out there, even for your regular player base, the better it's going to be for your game. And that's why I feel Panini of America feels this game is a nice little cash cow to just pull in a bit of profits every now and again. But I personally feel that Panini of America is okay with, at some point, this game dying off. They're milking it for what it was worth. They have the franchise. Maybe Super comes out. Maybe they do something with it. Or maybe, like you said, they have boosted the value of it, kind of like a house, right? You buy into it, you put equity, invest, sell it for a profit. That may be very well what Panini is doing. I don't know.
And it's also difficult to really think that that's what they're doing, but that's only because I have no knowledge as to what licenses sell for, especially for something like Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I guess they could sell it to in Japan, and I mean that's a whole nother ball game, but I really don't have expertise or knowledge as to what these licenses go for. And I would really hope that wasn't maybe that was the initial. If it was the initial, it doesn't even matter. If they're putting the effort now to really make this game better, to put effort for the player base to see it proactively, then I guess it doesn't matter what the initial intents are. All it matters is now they're acting. Now they're making efforts to really make the game much more than what it could have, what it was back. Try to go above and beyond for what it was like in the score days. Take the game that people loved and make it better. Make it better from what people who played the game a long time ago had experienced.
Well, I don't think they've done that. I think they have failed miserably in that aspect. And just by looking again, I'll compare to Star Wars Destiny. That's the case of a company, Fantasy Flight, makes quality products, really is pushing the game forward, integrates it with their website, solid marketing. Game is sold out everywhere. I mean, their second and their third waves, they're running out of product. They took a franchise that was insanely popular. They decided to really push marketing forward, and I feel they did it correctly. Now, if Panini America doesn't want to do that, that's your guys' business decisions. I'm not going to bag on you guys for making those decisions. You're a business, and in the end, you're trying to make money. So as much of a fan as I am as a DBZ, and I would hope that you would really invest the time and money into it, here's what it comes down to for me. When I, as a player, feel like I have more passion for the game than the creators of the game itself, it is a little disheartening for you. You know, it's like any game you play, like a video game, right? If you played a video game and the developers of the game are like, yeah, you can play this new Gears of War game, I guess. I mean, what else? I mean, and they didn't advertise it. You're like, wait, there's a special edition coming out? Oh, yeah, there's a special edition coming out, I guess. I mean, but it's up to you guys. You can buy it. To me, that would just speak volumes to me as a player and go, I mean, if you don't give a fuck really, then I don't know how much I give a fuck, which is where I'm at with Panini DBZ. I enjoy the game for what it is, but as far as advertising and playing the game and being invested into it, I'm right now not all that invested into the game because America has given me the clear message that they don't give a fuck. So I'm like, I don't really give a fuck either then.
And I really hope that if there's one thing that we, the players, can do, it's to voice our opinions. That's what me and Brian do every time when we do a podcast. We voice our opinions, not for the purposes of us just simply throwing our opinions out there, but it's to really collaborate. That's the big thing about me and Brian. We want to collaborate with you, the players, with people who are interested in the game, and just enthusiasts in general. Maybe you want to invest in the game and you're listening to our podcast, which, hey, that'd be fucking awesome if you were, and you wanted to hear more about it from our take. And it's a shame if that's the case from this podcast because we are bagging on Panini as a company a little bit for the product that they provide. But keep in mind, we still provide content. We still want to have a voice and have other people to have a voice and to spread the message. And the message would be, tell Panini, maybe, and this is all that we can do to really incentivize them to put forth more effort. If we throw our voice and show them, hey, we love this game, we're dedicated and loyal to want to see the game be successful, maybe that would have some form of effort on their end. Maybe there will be changes that can be progressively noticed or observed from us. So, I mean, that's why we really appreciate any type of feedback, any type of comments. There's a comment section below. Give us some feedback, guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're always interested in either knowing other ways that Panini could advertise or helping us to understand maybe some of the intricacies of Panini as a company that we may not understand because, again, we're just hypothesizing on a lot of this. So, as Jay said, your opinion is always appreciated when it comes to this because as much as we may bag on the game, I think I can speak for Jay. We want to see this game successful. I would hope that this game could become a success, and even though it won't be Magic, maybe be one of those little third out there games that does decently well and can continue moving on into Super. Because if it could, then we just have a game that keeps going and going.
Yeah, nothing can get done unless we make an effort, and this comes from everybody's perspective. The game store has to make an effort to sell the product, to try to reach out to Panini to receive product. The player base has to make an effort to expand the game to players nearby the area, tell them how the game works, even teach them, provide even product, kind of like from our last podcast where we discussed about scenarios where like me and other players have provided cards. Actually, there was a post not too long ago of a player who went to provided new cards for a new player, and I think one of those two cards of a big bundle of cards were like promo blinding energy moves, which is fantastic. Everyone was very supportive and was giving really good comments in the comment section of the post, and I mean that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. If we have a player base who's making that type of effort, I mean imagine what we can accomplish if us, the player base, and Panini were working together. And I'm sure that many of us would. Yeah,
I totally agree. So that's about all I have to say, man. I think it's pretty short and sweet.
Yeah, I think so as well. We really were able to get the point across.
Yeah, because you didn't record it last time. So we have this shit down.
That is a thing, yes.
Motherfucker. I hope you recorded this time.
Oh, shit. No, I'm kidding.
Yep. So anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next time in the new year, 2017, for more of the Manabeast Podcast. And thank you all for listening.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Have a happy Christmas and have a happy New Year. We look forward to hearing more back from you guys and providing more content for you.
Well, Christmas is over already. How do you tell them to have a happy Christmas? It's a Merry Christmas, by the way. And they've already had Christmas by the time this comes out.
Well, aren't you a negative Nancy? Jesus,
That's
man.
why you should say, I hope you had a Merry Christmas. And I hope you will have. I swear to God, I'm going to kick your dumbass, ruthless, GNU ass.
Whatever, in your dreams.
That's right. All right, so for Brian, signing out.
And for Jay also, signing out.
Jeez, you're so fucking white. Like, I mean, I'm white, and you're really white.
I'm nowhere near white, buddy.
Like, you're super white. Like, maybe not an actual race, but in the way you act, like, you're super white. And I can say that because I'm a white dude.
So you can stereotype white people?
Yeah, I'm Italian.
Damn,
I'm
you're
a
white.
wop. I'm a wop, exactly. So I know about whiteness. My grandfather came over on the boat, motherfucker.
Whoa.
Yeah, full-blooded Italian, bitches.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
That's how gangsta I am. My mother's maiden name was Franco. That's why.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me.
Won't do that.